Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Gaurav Sharma and with me is Abhineet Shukla bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India slams Pakistan for raising the Kashmir issue at an international forum, asks Islamabad to cease border terrorism. Promotion of bilateral trade, commerce and investments to be the focus areas during the visit of India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to Egypt. 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention to be held at Indore in India on the 9th of January next year. Dr. Jaishankar says the Narendra Modi government always accords the highest priority to nearly 32 million Indian diaspora. International Monetary Fund terms India's direct benefit transfer scheme as a logistical marvel. UN General Assembly demands Russia reverse course on attempted illegal annexation. France supplies natural gas to Germany for the first time. And in Asia Cup Women's Cricket, India to take on Sri Lanka in the finals at Sylhet in Bangladesh on the 15th of this month. Indian Minister of State for External Affairs Meenakshi Lekhi has slammed Pakistan for raising the Kashmir issue at an international forum while turning a blind eye towards the persecution of minorities within its own territories. In her statement at the 6th summit of the Conference on Interaction and Confidence-Building Measures in Asia CICA at Astana in Kazakhstan on Thursday, Ms. Lekhi said that it is unfortunate that Pakistan has chosen to once again misuse the CICA platform to propagate false and malicious propaganda against India. She said that Pakistan distracted from the theme and the focus of today's discussions and cooperation among member states. The minister said that the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have been and will remain an integral part of India. She said that Pakistan has no local stand-eye to comment on India's internal affairs. Ms. Lekhi said that Pakistan is the global epicenter of terrorism and continues to be the source of terrorist activities, including in India. She said that Pakistan continues to make no investment in human development, but provides their resources for creating and sustaining infrastructure of terrorism. The Minister of State for External Affairs said that Pakistan must immediately cease anti-India cross-border terrorism and shut down its infrastructure of terrorism. She said that with its own record of the dismal treatment of minority communities, Pakistan would be well advised to set its house in order instead of lecturing the world community.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will pay an official visit to Egypt. The two-day visit starting on Saturday is his first bilateral visit to the country. During his stay, Dr. Jaishankar will discuss a range of bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual interest with his Egyptian counterpart Sami Shukri. The visiting minister will interact with the Indian community based in Egypt. India and Egypt traditionally enjoy warm and friendly relations underpinned by historical and cultural linkages. Both the countries are celebrating 75 years of establishment of diplomatic relations this year. Egypt has been invited as a guest country during India's presidency of G20 in 2022-23. Egypt has been one of India's largest trading partners in Africa. The promotion of bilateral trade, commerce and investments will be one of the focus areas during the visit. India-Egypt bilateral trade touched a record high at $7.26 billion during 2021-22. Indian investment in Egypt exceeds $3.15 billion.
Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar had a telephonic conversation with the Gambian Foreign Minister Mamdou Tangara. Dr. Jaishankar on Thursday conveyed India's deepest condolences on the deaths of young children recently in the Gambia. He underlined that the matter is being seriously investigated by appropriate authorities. Both the ministers agreed to remain in touch.
The 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention will be held at Indore, Madhya Pradesh in central India in January next year. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Thursday launched the website of 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention with Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan through video conferencing. Dr. Jaishankar said the Narendra Modi government has always accorded highest priority to the Indian diaspora, which is more than 32 million. He said government's engagement is founded on the 4 C's, that is, care, connect, celebrate and contribute. The External Affairs Minister expressed confidence that the 17th PBD Convention will be an important landmark event in the post-pandemic world. He said, come January 2023, look forward to Madhya Pradesh warm hospitality. Secretary in Consular, Passport, Visa and Overseas Indian Affairs Division of Ministry of External Affairs, Ausaf Saeed, was also present on the occasion. Pravasi Bharatiya Divas is celebrated every year on the 9th of January to mark the contribution of the overseas Indian community in the development of India. It also commemorates the return of Mahatma Gandhi from South Africa to India on the 9th of January 1915.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that Indian defence products are not only world-class and reliable in quality but also relatively economical. He said that India is manufacturing world-class and cost-effective weapons and equipment which are being internationally recognized. Mr. Singh was delivering the inaugural address at the 2-day 4th Defence Attaches Conference being held in New Delhi on Thursday. The minister said that the defence attaches are the bridge between India and friendly foreign countries for mutual defence cooperation. He urged them to promote Indian defence production capabilities under Atmanirbhar Bharat and understand the technological innovations taking place in the Indian defence production sector.
In a big accolade for the Narendra Modi government's direct benefit transfer scheme, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has termed it a logistical marvel, considering the sheer size of the country. IMF's Deputy Director of Fiscal Affairs Department, Paolo Mauro, said that while there is a lot to learn from countries across the globe, India's DBT scheme is quite impressive. He said that the way DBT program that seeks to help people who are at low income levels reach hundreds of millions of people is a logistical marvel. Mr. Mauro said there are programs that target specifically women or the elderly and farmers and praised the technological innovation involved in these programs. IMF Chief Economist Pierre-Olivier Godinchard said that India has emerged as a bright light at a time when the world is facing imminent prospects of a recession. He noted that India needs some key structural reforms to achieve the ambitious target of a $10 trillion economy. The chief economist also applauded India's digitization efforts, terming it a game changer. He said that digitization is helping along a number of dimensions, including the promotion of financial inclusion.
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that growth will be among top priorities of the Union budget for 2023-24. She said that the new budget will be carefully structured where the focus will be on maintaining growth momentum. Ms. Sitharaman was speaking at an event organized by the Brookings Institute in Washington. She said that the forthcoming budget will also focus on addressing concerns arising out of inflation. On the issue of rising public debt and fiscal deficit, Ms. Sitharaman said that in the last 2 budgets, the central government focused on increased capital expenditure to revive the economy post-pandemic era. Speaking about the immediate risks being faced by India, the finance minister said that energy and fertilizer requirements were one of the most immediate challenges the country faced. Elaborating on managing the economy during the pandemic days, Ms. Sitharaman said that due to the digitization of the economy, India managed to provide food grains to the needy during lockdowns.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
United Nations General Assembly has adopted a resolution condemning the Russian annexation of the 4 Ukrainian regions. A total of 143 members voted in favor of the resolution, while 5 voted against it. As many as 35 abstained from the resolution, including India. The resolution passed in the UN General Assembly calls on all states, the UN and international organizations not to recognize any of Russia's annexation claim and demands the immediate reversal of its annexation declaration. The resolution comes days after Russia vetoed a similar proposal in Security Council in which India had abstained. Ukraine's UN ambassador called the vote amazing and a historic moment. US ambassador called it a monumental day. The European Union ambassador called it a great success.
France has for the first time started sending natural gas to Germany, French gas network operator GRT Gas said Thursday. It comes as Berlin strives to diversify its energy supply following the interruption of Russian gas deliveries. GRT Gas said the gas pipeline connecting both the countries at the French border village of Obergeilbach has been delivering an initial daily capacity of 31 gigawatt-hours. The amount is expected to eventually increase to a daily maximum of 100 gigawatt-hours, representing less than 2% of Germany's overall gas consumption, according to figures from the French Ministry for Energy Transition. Although Germany's gas storage facilities are now nearly 95% full, officials say citizens will still need to save gas this winter. The move comes as Germany and other European countries seek to diversify gas imports after Russia choked off the supplies of cheap natural gas that the continent depended on for years to run factories, generate electricity and heat homes. French President Emmanuel Macron announced last month that France and Germany agreed to an energy solidarity deal. The French government has expressed concerns over potential electricity shortages during the winter as 25 of France's 56 nuclear reactors are now shut down for usual maintenance and in some cases to repair corrosion problems.
Russian President Vladimir Putin proposed to his Turkish counterpart Tayyip Erdogan on Thursday that Moscow could export more gas via Turkey and turn it into a new supply hub, bidding to preserve Russia's energy leverage over Europe. At a meeting in Kazakhstan, Putin said that Turkey offered the most reliable route to deliver gas to the European Union. He said that the proposed platform would allow prices to be set without politics. Putin told Erdogan the hub would be a platform not only for supplies but also for determining the price, because this is a very important issue. Erdogan did not respond in the televised portion of their meeting, but Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov was quoted by the Russian news agency RIA as saying that both men had ordered a rapid and detailed examination of the idea. Russia is looking to redirect supplies away from the Nord Stream Baltic gas pipelines damaged in explosions last month that are still under investigation.
Frustration against China's zero-COVID policy went beyond online outpouring and was visible in capital Beijing on Thursday as photos and video of two large protest banners circulated on social media, which were displayed on an overbridge in Beijing's northwestern Haidian district, calling for an end to the policy. The visuals read such as "No COVID test, we want food to eat, no restrictions, we want freedom, no leaders, we want votes." Public had expected a shift away from stringent COVID-19 measures after 20th Party Congress, which begins on 16th of this month, when Chinese President Xi Jinping is widely expected to secure a president-breaking third term, with state media touting zero COVID policy as his legacy. However, Communist Party mouthpiece The People's Daily dashed the hopes as it strongly defended the policy, publishing 3 commentaries supporting the policy in 3 consecutive editions and slamming those advocating a loosening of the policy. In the run-up to the party congress, authorities have super-tightened the security across the city, shutting out many travelers and returning residents.
The United States is sending $60 million in rapid assistance to help the struggling Tunisian families amid the ongoing economic shocks that have plagued the North African nation and been exacerbated by the war in Ukraine. The grant from the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, will help UNICEF deliver direct support to vulnerable people in Tunisia, including for school-related costs, the U.S. Department said on Thursday. The $60 million aid is on top of ongoing U.S. support.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for crores of people across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. In today's episode, we bring you the story of India's achievements in space programs.
India's Space programs have grown and evolved significantly in the last decades. Some of the key turning points in the country's space journey include the launch of Aryabhat satellite, PSLV, GSLV, Mission Shakti and Mars Orbiter mission. Overall, India has been fairly successful in these efforts. The space research activities were initiated in India during the early 1960s, when applications using satellites were in experimental stages, even in the United States. Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the founding father of Indian space program, formed the Indian National Committee for Space Research, INCOSPAR, in 1962, with Dr. Sarabhai leading the charge. INCOSPAR set up the Thumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station in Thiruvananthapuram for upper atmospheric research.
It is not accidental that on the soil of India, the great space powers, the United States, the USSR and France, are collaborating with us at the equatorial range near Thumba. And even the United Nations sponsorship of this range is not merely a matter of form, but constitutes an umbrella under which, regardless of political differences, nations can collaborate in the peaceful uses of outer space.
INCOSPAR then grew and became the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, on August the 15th, 1969. The prime objective of ISRO is to develop space technology and its application to various national needs. ISRO is one of the 6 largest space agencies in the world. Named after the noted Indian astronomer, Aryabhat was India's first satellite, which was launched on April the 19th, 1975 from Kapustin Yar, a Soviet rocket launch and development site in Astrakhan Oblast, using a Cosmos 3M launch vehicle. Aryabhat was built by ISRO. Bhaskar Siga-1, India's second satellite, was also launched with Soviet assistance. Rohini was launched in 1980, becoming the first Indian satellite to be successfully placed in orbit by Satellite Launch Vehicle SLV-3, a country-made launch vehicle. In 1984, Air Force pilot Rakesh Sharma was the first Indian to go into space, riding in a Soviet spacecraft. He spoke to then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi from space during a joint television news conference.
ऊपर से भारत कैसा दिखता है आपको?
जी मैं बगैर किसी झिझक के कह सकता हूँ कि सारे जहां से अच्छा.
Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle PSLV has successfully launched 2 spacecraft, Chandrayaan-1 in 2008 and Mars Orbiter spacecraft in 2013. Chandrayaan-1 was India's first moon mission. It was the first unmanned lunar probe under the Chandrayaan program and was launched in October 2008 by ISRO. Mars Orbiter mission was the country's first interplanetary mission. India became the 4th space agency in the world to reach Mars orbit after Roscosmos, NASA and the European Space Agency. It also made India the first nation in the world to reach the Martian orbit in its maiden attempt. The spacecraft Mangalyaan was launched on November the 5th, 2013 and reached Mars orbit on the 24th of September 2014. At just $74 million, the mission cost less than the estimated $100 million budget of the science fiction blockbuster Hollywood movie Gravity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said everything about Mangalyaan is indigenous and we reached Mars at a smaller budget than a Hollywood movie.
कि अमेरिका की हॉलीवुड जो फिल्म बनती है मूवी, उससे भी कम खर्चे में हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने काम किया है. यानी इससे ज्यादा खर्चा तो हॉलीवुड की मूवी बनाने में होता है.
India is striving towards self-reliant space applications and ISRO has developed a cost-effective and reliable satellite launch system. Another brilliant innovation by ISRO is the GSLV, which has the capability to put a heavier payload in orbit than the PSLV. In a first-of-its-kind attempt, the Defence Research and Development Organization managed to successfully neutralize a satellite in space with its anti-satellite ASAT missile on March the 27th, 2019. This was one of the most important and complex missions that was undertaken by the DRDO, and it was named Mission Shakti. It demonstrated the organization's ability to defend India's assets even in space.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune into All India Radio News for आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ.
In today's Hotspot section, we bring to you news commentary on the India Space Program for Global Good. The script has been written by N. Bhadra Nair, Executive Editor, Indian Science Journal.
On the 21st of November 1963, India launched its first rocket from a launching pad in Tumba near Thiruvananthapuram with a cattle shed serving as the workshop for a two-stage Nike Apache-sounding rocket sourced from America. While a Catholic church served as the working space for scientists, the bishop's house was converted into an office. The rocket parts were transported on bicycles to the launch pad as it was the only mode of transport in those days in that village. The first satellite, Aryabhat, named after the famous Indian astronomer, was launched almost 12 years later in April 1975 from the then USSR. From a rudimentary beginning, India has grown into one of the leading spacefaring nations. The father of Indian space program, Vikram Sarabhai, had envisioned application of space science and technology for national development and people's welfare. His planning of some controlled experiments led to using satellites for broadcasting and television. All India Radio and Doordarshan were key partners in this experiment. The strong foundation laid by Sarabhai in Tumba and earlier in Ahmedabad helped his successors to take India to the exclusive club of spacefaring nations. India's first lunar mission in 2008, Chandrayaan-1, which discovered water molecules in lunar soil, put India on a fast trajectory of future space programs. The second lunar mission, Chandrayaan-2, was a complex one with significant technological leap. The mission included an orbiter, lander and rover to study the atmosphere, the surface and the subsurface of the moon in a single mission. Unfortunately, the Indian Space Research Organization, Isro, lost contact with the lander shortly before the scheduled touchdown. In a media release on 3rd December 2019, NASA said, despite the loss, getting that close to the surface was an amazing achievement. NASA had spotted the crash site. Chandrayaan-2 was designed to study the topography, seismography, mineral identification and distribution, surface chemical composition, thermophysical characteristics of topsoil and composition of lunar atmosphere, leading to a new understanding of the origin and evolution of moon. ISRO plans to carry out a second attempt to land on the lunar surface with Chandrayaan-3 in the latter half of 2023. ISRO created history in 2014 when its Mars orbiter mission, Mangalyaan, successfully entered the orbit of the red planet in its maiden attempt. In yet another record, ISRO launched 104 satellites in a single flight on 15 February 2017 on its workhorse Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle or PSLV. Indian space missions have three major components: Earth observation, disaster management support and satellite communication. These are all focused on national development like teleeducation, telemedicine, remote sensing applications, etc. Indian remote sensing satellites have contributed to many areas like agricultural crops inventory, water resources information system, groundwater prospects, mapping biodiversity, fishing zones, and ocean state forecasts. A study commissioned by the Earth Sciences Ministry has estimated that benefits to farmers through accurate weather forecasting will help them reap huge benefits and losses would be avoided, thus increasing the income of farmers. Similarly, fishing community has also benefited immensely from advanced ocean state forecasts and warnings. Accurate weather data helped in preventing loss of lives of fishermen and their vessels. India also shares the satellite data with several other countries, including in South Asia. In August 2021, New Delhi signed a pact with BRICS nations for multilateral cooperation to mitigate global climate change, major disasters, and environmental protection. South Asia Satellite, launched in August 2017, provides linked communication to 7 countries under SAARC except Pakistan. Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives, Nepal and Sri Lanka have access to the satellite during emergencies and natural disasters. These countries together would benefit to the tune of $1.5 billion over the 12-year lifespan of the satellite. India's ambitious human space exploration Gaganyaan, which has been delayed due to the global pandemic and national lockdown, would now be launched sometime in the early 2023. It would prove the country's indigenous capability to undertake human space exploration. The government has now liberalized the space sector to enable private players to carry out space activities, while the state-run Isro can focus on technology development and capacity building. From a cattle shed, Indian space technology has grown to place the country among the top global space powers. It is now known for credible and cost-effective to be able to provide satellite services to foreign countries.
A 1,600-year-old virtually intact Roman-era mosaic has been discovered in central Syria on Wednesday. The mosaic, measuring 20 meters long and 6 meters wide, was found under a building in Leicester near Homs, which was held by rebels in the civil war until 2018. Showing mythical scenes including the Trojan and Amazon Wars, it is said to be the rarest of its kind. In Asia Cup Women's Cricket, India will take on Sri Lanka in the final at Sylhet International Cricket Stadium, Bangladesh. India reached the final with a comfortable win over Thailand in the first semi-final match. This is the 8th time when India secured a place in the Asia Cup's final. Chasing a target of 149 runs set by India, Thailand could manage only 74 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. In the second semi-final of the tournament at the same venue, Sri Lanka defeated Pakistan by 1 run. The final will be played on 15th of this month at 1 in afternoon Indian Standard Time.
India kicked off the International Shooting Sport Federation World Championship Rifle Pistol campaign in Cairo in Egypt with a bronze in the women's 25-meter pistol team junior competition. The trio of Isha Singh, Namya Kapoor and Vibhuti Bhatia demolished Team Germany 17-1 in the bronze medal match to get India on the board on day 1 of the competitions itself as the Egypt International Olympic City shooting range. China won the gold in the event while Korea won the silver medal. And now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The New York Times in its lead says inflation stays strong, showing stubbornly rising U.S. prices.
The Wall Street Journal reveals that the U.S. Federal Trade Commission's officials traded stocks and funds more than those at any other major agency, including going heavily into tech shares.
The Globe and Mail notes that the IMF warns of possible recession in Canada, urges fiscal prudence.
The Financial Times writes, world's top chip equipment suppliers halt business with China.
The Asahi Shimbun points out that Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is slowly plugging into all outlets for a plan to keep down the surging electricity bills.
The Guardian writes that Nigeria urges British Museum to follow US and repatriate bronzes.
And before we end the bulletin, a quick look at the headlines once again. India slams Pakistan for raising the Kashmir issue at an international forum, asks Islamabad to cease border terrorism. Promotion of bilateral trade, commerce and investments to be the focus areas during the visit of India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to Egypt. 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention to be held at Indore in India on the 9th of January next year. Dr. Jaishankar says the Narendra Modi government always accords the highest priority to nearly 32 million Indian diaspora. International Monetary Fund terms India's direct benefit transfer scheme as a logistical marvel. UN General Assembly demands Russia reverse course on attempted illegal annexation. France supplies natural gas to Germany for the first time. And in Asia Cup Women's Cricket, India to take on Sri Lanka in the finals at Sylhet in Bangladesh on the 15th of this month.
And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Spain.
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.